The ultimatum. The holographic display bathed Commander Ilara Voss's face in a cold blue light as she studied the approaching vessels. Her fingers danced across the control panel, enhancing the image of the alien fleet. 7 massive ships, each shaped like elongated diamonds with pulsing violet energy signatures, unlike anything in Earth's database. Analysis, Lieutenant Shaw. Voss asked, her voice steady despite the tension gripping the bridge of the ESS Harbinger. Unknown configuration, Commander. Energy readings are off the charts. They're not matching any known species in our codex. Shaw's fingers flew across his station. They're hailing us. Voss straightened her uniform jacket, the insignia of Earth's Special Defense Force catching the light. At 42, she carried herself with the confidence of someone who had faced death too many times to fear it. Her short silver hair and piercing green eyes gave her an intensity that commanded respect. On screen, the holographic display shifted, revealing a being with iridescent scales covering the humanoid face. 4 amber eyes blinked in unison, and when it spoke, its voice resonated with harmonics that made the translator struggle. Vessel of Earth, I am High Executor Zyvex of the Hegemony Council. Your presence in this sector has been noted. Your species has expanded beyond acceptable parameters. Voss kept her expression neutral. High Executor, I am Commander Ilara Voss of the Earth Space Vessel Harbinger. We are on a peaceful exploration mission. The alien's upper eyes narrowed. Peaceful. Your vessel carries weapon signatures we can detect even through your primitive cloaking technology. The hegemony has observed your kind for decades. Your rapid technological advancement poses a destabilizing threat to galactic order. Shaw glanced up from his console, concern etched across his face. Voss gave him a barely perceptible nod to remain silent. We arm ourselves only for defense, High Executor. Earth seeks peaceful relations with all spacefaring species. Peace requires hierarchy, Commander. The hegemony has maintained galactic stability for 12,000 years by ensuring species know their place. The alien scales shifted color, darkening to a deep purple. You have 48 Earth hours to prepare your government for our arrival. The Hegemony Council will arrive at your homeworld to negotiate terms of your species integration. The transmission cut before Voss could respond. Well, that was diplomatic, muttered Chief Engineer Reza Dalir, his thick beard not hiding his scowl. Integration. We all know what that means. Voss turned to her communications officer. Lieutenant Park, priority transmission to Earth Defense Command. Code Omega. As Park executed the command, Voss addressed her bridge crew. The Harbinger was built for exactly this scenario. Let's make sure she's ready to perform. The ESS Harbinger wasn't just any warship. Officially classified as an exploration vessel, it represented the pinnacle of human ingenuity, a synthesis of technologies reverse-engineered from crashed alien craft and humanity's own innovations. Only 5 people knew its true capabilities, and 3 of them stood on its bridge. Commander, called out Navigation Officer Chen, another vessel approaching. Small signature, moving fast. Hegemony, Voss demanded. Negative. Different energy profile. They're requesting emergency docking, claiming to be refugees from hegemony space. Voss weighed her options. This could be a trap, but it could also be an opportunity to gather intelligence. Security teams to docking bay. Full bioscan protocols. Let's see what they have to say. The refugee vessel contained just 2 occupants, Talix and Nera, members of the Iltheri species. Their translucent skin revealed pulsing blue circulatory systems, and their eyes were wide with fear. The hegemony lies. Talix said once they were in the Harbinger's conference room. They do not integrate species, they harvest them. Nera, the smaller of the 2, pulled out a data crystal. We worked in their central archives. This contains proof of what happens to worlds that resist, and what happens to those that surrender. The data revealed a pattern spanning millennia. The hegemony approached developing worlds, demanded submission. then systematically stripped the planets of resources and categorized the inhabitants. The most useful were taken for labor. The rest were processed into biological components for hegemony technology. Voss reviewed the footage with growing anger. How many worlds? 417 over the past 10,000 years, Nera whispered. Earth will be 418. Voss stood. Not if I have anything to say about it. Thank you for this information. You'll be granted asylum on Earth. Within hours, Voss presented the evidence to Earth's Defense Council via secure transmission. The debate was brief. Humanity would not surrender. The Harbinger is our best chance, General Santos said from Earth. Commander Voss, you are authorized to deploy all systems. Protocol Black Dawn is now in effect. Voss acknowledged the order, feeling the weight of 7 billion lives on her shoulders. Chief Engineer Delir, begin power-up sequence for the Nexus core, she ordered once the transmission ended. Delir looked up, his face grave. The core has never been tested at full capacity, Commander. Today it gets its test. Voss turned to her executive officer. Commander Rodriguez, prepare the crew for combat status. We are now Earth's first and last line of defense. As the Harbinger prepared for battle, more hegemony ships arrived. 17 massive vessels positioned themselves strategically throughout the Sol system, cutting off escape routes. Voss gathered her senior officers in the secure briefing room. The hegemony expects us to either surrender or fight conventionally and lose. They don't know about the Nexus core or the quantum fold technology. Our advantage is surprise. We'll only get one chance at this. Shaw projected the battle plan. We've identified the hegemony command vessel. If we can neutralize it, their fleet will be temporarily disorganized. The Harbinger's Nexus core can generate enough energy to create a localized quantum distortion that will effectively trap their ships in a temporal bubble. How long will it hold them? Asked Rodriguez. Theoretically, long enough for Earth to evacuate if necessary, Delir replied. But there's a significant chance the core will destabilize after the initial discharge. Meaning the Harbinger won't survive, Voss stated flatly. The room fell silent. I've already transmitted a request for volunteers only. Any crew member who wishes to transfer off before we engage will be transported to Earth's defensive fleet. Voss looked at each officer in turn. I'm staying with the ship. I don't expect any of you to do the same. With respect, Commander, said Rodriguez, we all knew what we signed up for. One by one, the officers nodded in agreement. Then let's make this count, Voss said. We have 12 hours before the hegemony reaches Earth. I want the Harbinger at full combat readiness in 6. As the officers dispersed to their stations, Voss remained behind, studying the tactical display. The Harbinger was vastly outnumbered, but humanity had always thrived as the underdog. She placed her hand on the ship's bulkhead, feeling the subtle vibration of the Nexus core powering up deep within the vessel. Just hold together, she whispered. Just long enough. The countdown to Earth's most critical confrontation had begun. Defiance. The hegemony fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation. 23 warships arranged in a hemispheric pattern facing Earth. Their massive forms eclipsed the stars behind them, violet energy crackling along their hulls. In Earth's orbit, the combined defensive fleet of 40 smaller vessels looked like toys in comparison. Behind them, the blue planet continued its serene rotation, unaware that its fate hung in the balance. Incoming transmission from the hegemony flagship, announced Lieutenant Park. Commander Voss, standing at the center of the Harbinger's bridge, nodded. On screen, High Executor Zyvex appeared, now wearing ceremonial armor that accentuated the predatory nature of his species. Commander Voss, your species has chosen defiance rather than wisdom. Unfortunate, but not unexpected. We've reviewed your terms of integration, Executor. We've also examined your actual treatment of subjugated worlds. Voss's voice carried an edge of steel. Humanity does not surrender to extinction. Zivex's scales flashed with irritation. Your resistance is futile. and based on incomplete understanding. The hegemony brings order to chaos. Your species brings only disruption. Is that what you told the Caledonians before you reduced their population by 80%? Or the Mithrans before you converted their planet into a resource extraction facility? Voss stepped closer to the projection. We know what you are. Predators masquerading as saviors. For a moment, Zyvix seemed taken aback. Then his expression hardened. You have been missiled by enemies of peace. This discussion is concluded. Prepare your world for the inevitable. The transmission cut off. They're charging weapons, reported Shaw, his fingers flying across his console. Energy readings increasing across all vessels. Voss opened a channel to the Earth Defense Fleet. Admiral Kwan, move your ships to prearranged coordinates. The Harbinger will engage the Hegemony Command Vessel. Understood, Commander. Good hunting, came the terse reply. Voss turned to her helmsman. Lieutenant Chen, attack pattern Epsilon. Full thrust on my mark. The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency, each aware that the coming minutes would determine humanity's future. Nexus core at 95% capacity, reported Chief Engineer Delire from Engineering. Quantum fold initiator standing by. Voss took a deep breath. All hands, battle stations, mark. The Harbinger surged forward, its revolutionary propulsion system leaving a trail of blue energy as it accelerated toward the center of the hegemony formation. The enemy vessels immediately adjusted, weapons systems tracking the approaching human ship. They're targeting us with energy weapons, called out Shaw. Impact in 5 seconds. Defensive systems online, Rodriguez confirmed. Quantum shields at maximum. The first hegemony blast struck the Harbinger, a beam of concentrated energy that would have vaporized a conventional vessel. The quantum shields absorbed the impact, converting the enemy's energy into additional power for the Harbinger systems. Shields holding, Rodriguez reported, surprise evident in his voice. Power levels actually increasing. Voss allowed herself a small smile. They don't know what they're dealing with. Target the command vessel's propulsion systems. Fire phase cannons. The Harbinger's main weapons discharge, not the conventional projectiles or energy beams that the hegemony expected, but concentrated bursts of phased particles that existed partially outside normal spacetime. The enemy shields, calibrated for standard weapons, offered almost no resistance. On the tactical display, Voss watched as the hegemony flagship's engines flickered and died. Direct hit, Shaw announced. Their primary propulsion is offline. The hegemony responded with overwhelming force. 12 vessels redirected their fire toward the Harbinger, while the others began systematically targeting Earth's defensive fleet. Multiple impacts, Rodriguez called out as the ship shuddered. Quantum shields at 60% and falling. Earth's ships engage, drawing fire from some of the hegemony vessels, but they were clearly outmatched. 2 human vessels exploded under the alien onslaught. We need to act now, Voss decided. Engineer Delire, status of the Nexus core. At full capacity, Commander. Quantum fold ready to initiate, but we need to be closer to the command vessel for maximum effect. Voss turned to Chen. Take us in. Evasive pattern Delta. Get us within 500 meters of their flagship. The Harbinger danced through space, taking hits but dodging the worst of the barrage as it closed in on the disabled hegemony command ship. Commander, Shaw's voice was urgent. I'm detecting energy buildup in the hegemony fleet. They're preparing some kind of coordinated attack. How long until we're in position? 30 seconds, Chen replied, his hand steady despite the chaos. Voss opened a shipwide channel. All hands, secure for quantum fold initiation. This is what we trained for. The Harbinger rocked violently as a glancing hit bypassed the weakening shields. Hull breach on deck 4, reported Rodriguez. Automatic seals engage. 15 seconds to optimal position. Chen called out. Another hit. Warning lights flashed across multiple stations. Shields at 30%. Rodriguez said, 1 more direct hit and they're gone. 10 seconds. Voss gripped the command rail. Reroute all non-essential power to shields. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. We're in position. Initiate quantum fold. Voss ordered. Deep within the Harbinger, the Nexus core, humanity's greatest technological achievement, activated. It didn't just generate energy. It manipulated the fabric of reality itself. A sphere of distorted spacetime erupted from the Harbinger, enveloping both it and the Hegemony flagship. Within this field, conventional physics began to break down. On the bridge, gravity fluctuated. Light seemed to bend, and time itself felt stretched. Quantum fold stable, Delir reported, his voice strained. Extending field to encompass secondary targets. The distortion expanded, capturing 3 more hegemony vessels. Inside the field, the alien ship's systems began to fail as quantum uncertainty rendered their technology inoperable. High Executor Zyvex appeared on the Harbinger's communication system, his image distorted. What? What is this? What have you done? For the first time, fear replaced arrogance in his voice. This is humanity's answer to extinction, Voss replied calmly. A quantum fold. Inside this field, probability itself is in flux. Your weapons, your shields, your very ships are subject to our control. Impossible. No species at your development stage could create such technology. That's your fundamental error, Executor. You measure development by age, not innovation. Humanity has always adapted faster than expected. Voss leaned forward. Now here are our terms. Before she could continue, the Nexus core surged, sending power fluctuations throughout the Harbinger. Commander, Delir's voice was urgent. The core is destabilizing. We can't maintain the field for more than 2 minutes. Voss turned back to Zyvex. It seems we don't have time for negotiation after all. Tell your fleet to stand down and withdraw, or we collapse this field, and everything in it, into a quantum singularity. You destroy yourselves as well, Zyvex challenged, though uncertainty had crept into his tone. To save our world, without hesitation. Voss's expression was resolute. 1 minute, Executor. Choose. For several tense seconds, Zyvex said nothing. Then, visibly struggling against his pride, he gave the order. All vessels, ceasefire. Initiate withdrawal protocols. Outside the quantum fold, the Hegemony fleet stopped its attack. One by one, they began retreating from Earth's orbit. 30 seconds until core collapse, warned Delir. Release the Hegemony vessels from the field, Voss ordered. But maintain it around the Harbinger. Commander, Rodriguez questioned. The collapse could devastate anything nearby. We'll contain it within our shields. Voss's tone made it clear this wasn't open for discussion. As the quantum fold contracted, releasing the enemy ships, Zyvex spoke again. This isn't over, Commander. The Hegemony does not forget. Neither does humanity, Voss replied. Remember that. The transmission ended as the last Hegemony ship jumped to faster than light speed. Core collapse in 15 seconds. Delir's voice was solemn. Voss addressed her crew one last time. It has been my highest honor to serve with each of you. What we've done today has secured humanity's future among the stars. 10 seconds. 9. 8. Rodriguez moved to stand beside Voss. It was worth it, Commander. 7. 6. 5. Shaw and Chen nodded in agreement, standing tall at their stations. 4. 3. Voss closed her eyes, at peace with their sacrifice. 2. 1. The Nexus core collapsed, but instead of destruction, it imploded into a controlled dimensional pocket, pulling the Harbinger with it. For 3 seconds, the ship existed everywhere and nowhere at once. Then, with a flash of brilliant light, the Harbinger reappeared 50,000 kilometers from its previous position. Stunned silence filled the bridge. Status report, Voss finally managed. Delir's voice came through, filled with disbelief. The core, it didn't destabilize. It reconfigured. Commander, I think we just invented a new form of faster-than-light travel." Cheers erupted across the ship. Against impossible odds, humanity had not only survived but evolved. 3 days later, representatives from 17 previously subjugated species made contact with Earth. The hegemony's defeat had sent shockwaves through the galaxy, inspiring rebellions and defections throughout their territory. As Commander Voss stood in Earth's Grand Assembly Hall, watching the formation of a new galactic alliance with humanity at its center, she reflected on what had truly saved them. Not just technology, but humanity's defining trait: the absolute refusal to accept defeat, even in the face of impossible odds. The stars would never be the same again. Humanity had arrived.